this presentation I am going to introduce again the concept of communicative competence, but in this case I am going to develop some other approaches focusing on Canil and Swin, because around the 90s both of them started to develop some approaches about communicative competence, the contents of communicative competence, the different aspects related to it. But after that, it was just Canel who followed these theoretical foundations. So communicative competence, this concept is regarded to the different knowledge and capacities that a person acquires in order to be competent in a language. In the case of native speakers, it's a process that occurs from the very beginning, when they are just babies, but with foreign language learners, it happened very late. So the process is very different, and they studied a lot about foreign language speakers. So the first thing he developed, because it was just Canel, was the nature of linguistic communication. The use of a language is a clear social interaction. It depends on the society in which you are using this language, and the social aspects are going to change the use of the way you are trying to communicate. The people who you are talking with is going to change your purposes. The creativity is another aspect related to communication, because the same topic can change depend on the person who is developing this topic. Limits, the same than creativity. My psychological limits are different from yours. From a group of persons, of people, the limits are going to change. It's not the same talking about politics by students than talking about politics by parents or by teachers or by doctors. The resources are going to be different, and the purposes, as I have said before, the same topic can have a different purposes if you change the way that you are using the topic, the intonation that you are giving to the sentence, or just the different tunes that you are using. So the different aspects related to the nature of linguistic communication nowadays seem very usual and very normal things, but at this moment there were some problems with it, because different authors didn't agree with this concept. But the most important thing that they developed were the factors or areas of knowledge and skills that happen when you are communicating. Grammatical competence, which is the phonetics, the orthography, the vocabulary that you use and you know. But at the beginning, linguistics thought that grammatical competence was the best way to teach a language, but is it not accepted nowadays, because we know that there are a lot of different aspects within communication. Sociolinguistic competence depends on the channel that you are talking about. If you are using a written way, you use different forms to communicate, and if you are speaking, you use different language. Discourse competence depends on the context. Here it was the channel, here is the context, the formal discourses are different from informal discourses, and the appropriateness of the words are going to change too. And the strategic competence, which is maybe one of the most important competencies, because through this strategic competence you are going to solve different problems with grammatical, sociolinguistic, or discourse competence. If you don't feel confident with some discourse that you are using, your strategic competence is going to help you if you are the knowledge to do it. For this reason, you need to acquire some strategic knowledge. But they worked at the beginning on another concept that Canel tried to improve after their article together, which was the difference between competence and performance communication. At the beginning, it was thought that competence was just the theoretical aspect of communication, the vocabulary, the grammatical structures, but then, as Chomsky said before them, performance was the way you use your competence level. But then this theory, with the contribution of Canel, it has changed a lot, because in this case competence is everything regarding to the way you use your communication skills, but performance refers to the context in which you are using this. The appropriateness, again, regarding to the discourse competence, the appropriateness of your linguistic purpose. If you know how to use not only your competencies but the context, in this way is acting the things that you can do, but in this context the things that are surrounding you are affecting your communication purposes. But after Canel have existed different authors who has talked about communication. Whoa, what's that? For example, Sandra Savignon, who has talked about the important things. The first one is that all of these aspects that seems very clearly separated, grammar or discourse, or instead of being separated things, are aspects that are correlated all the time and are acting together all the time. If you are using grammatical competencies because you want to do it in a specific context and with a specific channel and using some specific strategies. But Sandra Savignon has not been the only the only person who has studied this topic, because Bachman and Palmer has been very important in this field, because they have structured the different factors of areas in another way. Why? Because instead of dividing the factors in 4, they are dividing the factors in 3. Because strategic and discourse competence are together in pragmatic competency. With these cases, I want to transmit that a theory of communicative competence is not established nowadays. There are lots of interpretations, lots of different. For this reason, Fitch, Hastrap, and Philipson has divided the aspects in a lot of them. Phonology, grammar, lexis, pragmatics, discourse, strategies, a lot of them. At least all of them are implying the same things, but doing it in different ways. For example, Brumfield has introduced to another 2 concepts, which are fluency and accuracy, everything related to education, because these concepts are acquired by a native speaker unconsciously, but in a it's not an unconscious process. You need to develop fluency and accuracy in non-native speaker learners. So, concluding this presentation, I would like to take into consideration a sentence by the writer of this article that I have read, which is Janice Jolden, in which they say that communicative competence is not something to be acquired like a new pair of shoes. It's a very long process that implies a lot of things. And thank you very much for listening to me and laughing. Dios, qué mierda.